Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2018 Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. We're so grateful that you're all here, celebrating our 36th year here in Aspen. Many of those years, Tyler Florence has been here. How many years have you been here? Almost 10 years. That's incredible. I'm pretty sure most of you know who Tyler Florence is. If you're not, get the heck out of this room.
Get out.
Who's next door? I don't know. Marcus. Okay, so I'm going to tell you all, you need to be extremely loud all throughout the demonstration so that Tyler can beat Marcus.
Yeah.
As you know, Tyler does everything. He has olive oil, he has wine, he has 2 restaurants now, including one in the airport.
Yeah.
He does like literally everything. But what I wanted to mention was that, so I've been at Food and Wine for almost 9 years, and in that time I've tested many of Tyler's recipes, and they're all like really delicious, really like just so brilliant and genius. I mean, he's like a hardcore cook, and that's what I love about him because I'm a cook myself. And I just wanted to point out one was a recipe I tested of his. We actually call it the best ever fried chicken. You can get the recipe at foodandwine.com. And is it? Who's made it? You've made it? There you go. Oh my gosh, thank you. So he actually gave us the recipe, and he wanted us to sous vide the chicken at first, and I was like, come on, buddy. I was like, they don't want to sous vide at home. And so he actually went out of his way to develop a technique of slowly roasting the chicken before he fries it, just so that we can run it in the magazine, and it was one of the best recipes we've ever written, and we love it. And we're going to make a lot of noise, because I'm going to introduce him again. And we can already hear Marcus, and he didn't have a crowd. So let's do it. Everybody, welcome Tyler Florence.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Aspen! How you guys doing? Are you guys having a good time? I love this festival so much. You know, there are a handful of really good food and wine festivals around the country, right? And they're all great in their own way. What are we talking about? We got New York City Food and Wine Festival. You guys been to that one? Yeah. That's a great one. We're going to be there in October. There's the South Beach Food and Wine Festival. Have you guys been to that one? That's a good one. We're going to be there again in February. There's the Pebble Beach Food and Wine Festival. Have you guys been to that one? That's a good one, too. We're going to be there in April. And then there's the LA Food and Wine Festival, and that's like in the early part of the summer. Have you guys been to that one? That one's a good one, too. But I'm telling you, there is festivals, and then there's the Aspen Food and Wine Classic. Am I right? And I love this festival because it's so real, and it's so small, and you get a chance to just kind of hang out with people because I'm like you, man. I'm a fan. I just nerded out in front of Jacques Pepin, and I've met him 100 times. I'm like, Jacques, how you doing? Hey, how are you? It's Tyler, good to see you. How you doing? How are you? Remember me? No? It's all right, it's cool, whatever. Good to see you. Don't worry about it, it's fine. No, Jacques Pepin and I was gracious enough to be invited to host an event with him when he was on book tour a year ago. I live in Marin County, California, just on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. And he gave a lecture at Dominican University in Marin. And he asked me to sort of moderate the panel, or not really panel, just a discussion. So it was Jacques and I on stage for an hour and a half. And I'm telling you, it was just one of those magical moments. So the people that are here are just the best of the best of the best. And it attracts the best of the best of the best. And I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. We're going to have a fantastic time. We got a great demo for you. We're going to show you one of, I think, California's really prized ingredients, like aquaculture, like the things that we grow there, right? Like, I moved to California in 2006. And from New York City, I lived in New York City for about 15 years. I grew up in upstate South Carolina. And having that epiphany in California, like tasting a fig and realizing that you've never tasted a fig in your life. Tasting a tomato and kind of realizing, and I grew up in the South, don't get me wrong, everybody's got great tomatoes, but there's something kind of crazy about the weather and the soil and the growing seasons in California. And it's really kind of made my food different and better in a lot of very interesting ways that I didn't realize, including having relationships with a lot of the people that really kind of grow these things. Like, we're very tight with all these guys. We're really tight with the guys that grow our lamb for our restaurants. We're really great, tight with the guys in our beef program, for our grass-fed beef program. And we're also really tight with people that produce sea urchin. Do you guys like sea urchin, right? Do you guys like sea urchin? Do you guys like sometimes you'll see it in a sushi restaurant called uni, right? Uni? I'm telling you, man, like, I've eaten a lot of things in my life, right? And I always kind of go back to uni when it's fresh and it's delicious, and it may not be everybody's cup of tea. And I think sometimes the Aspen Food and Wine Classic is a place where you see new ideas, right? And you hear about new kind of interesting things. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm telling you, if you like it, it tastes like butter from the ocean. And it is absolutely spectacular. So my film production company shot a beautiful documentary film. It's about 6.5 minutes long. And it's on our beautiful Mendocino sea urchin, where it comes from, what to do with it. And I think it's one of the most beautiful pieces we've shot this year. So we brought it. We're going to spend about 6 minutes, like, kind of getting close to uni. And I'm going to show you a fantastic recipe on how to make uni with a beautiful summer corn polenta. Does that sound cool? Yeah. Roll the tape.
My name is Bob Juntz, and we're in Fort Bragg, California, along the north coast, just a little bit, about 10 miles north of Mendocino. And we process sea urchins here, along, we also handle crab, salmon, hagfish, and black cod, and any other fish the fishermen bring in. Fisheries have been established here since the turn of the century. This harbor here got built up probably in the 1920s, and it expanded through the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The divers, they take their boat out in the morning. It's usually a day trip. They go out, they dive on a spot, they bring their urchins up to the boat, and then they bring them here to the dock, usually in the afternoon. And from there, we put them in bins, we put them in the refrigerator. We get enough to make processing schedules and we take orders as we get the product. And so we don't really know what's inside them until we actually break them open. So, you may not have the grade you want, until you really open them up. So we would begin early in the morning. We start processing them, where we crack them open with a special little tool. And then you have the people that shuck the meat out of the shell with a little rubber spatula. And the different colored baskets represent different boats, because we track each boat as a lot, so we know what we made out of that boat and how the quality was. And they move along, they get cleaned, and then once we get those cleaned up, we move them along into a really cold water solution. And then once that happens, we pull them out of that cold water. They drain a little bit in a refrigerator, and then each basket will receive paper towels that the meat will end up resting on. And then from that point, they go to the packing crew, where they'll arrange them on different types of trays according to the weight specifications of the customers and the color quality parameters. Most of our product right now is going to the San Francisco Bay Area. We send a very small amount to up into the Northwest and a little bit on the East Coast. We actually had a really good run all the way from 2008 to 2013, where the kelp beds were they were vibrant, they were healthy, they grew in predictably every year, and that's the way it's been most of the years that I've lived here. There's one exception, I think 2003 or 4, 5, and 6, we had poor kelp growth. But once the kelp came back, Our workers came back, divers came back, and we got to where we were processing, over 20 to 25,000 pounds of these a day. The Help to Kelp is a campaign that was started by some concerned people, one being that guy John Holcomb, the diver, and he's been working on a way to kind of vacuum those urchins up because they're so small you can't pick them with regular equipment that the urchin divers use. They're really trying to take an area and use it as an experiment over in Casper Bay, which is about 5 miles south of us. And over time, the urchins are starting to come back, because there's a lot of them that live in places where you can't see when you're working. So it's a monumental project, but they're at least trying to find out what you can do.
My name is Takanori Wada. I'm from Sushi Run, Sausalito, California. I'll tell customers all the time that's the butter from the ocean. So they prepare the taste. The beginner customer, we serve more like a Santa Barbara Sea Urchin because it's milder. And then they like it. And then we recommend that we have another one from a Mendocino. It's more like a robust flavor. California has a character like bold and strong and dense, creamy. Compared with the Japanese uni, is a little bit watery, soft and silky. But I like the bold California uni so much. It has a texture relatively firm, but it's rich and creamy like ocean butter. It's really good match with rice, which we buy from Sacramento. This is locally grown. And wasabi, half-moon bay, and soy sauce. So it's all good combination with local sea urchin. Well, customer like California sea urchin because locally harvested, grown, and then they're always looking for some, do you have a local fish? So the uni is very local, and I know the diver who are getting a uni from, so we all connect each other. So the local uni is the one make us feel like we are living in a very special place.
Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Thank you. So our production company, we just finished our first full-length documentary film. I've been making like really nice home movies for my entire life, and so we just finished our first documentary on the 2017 California wine country fires, and it's called Uncrushable, and we're gonna premiere the film this September, so you'll totally hear about it. But this is the kind of stuff we just like to geek out and make little cool movies. Did you like that? That was fun, right? Awesome. All right, so let's get into it, people. You guys ready to go? All right, fantastic, good. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you a really sexy restaurant-style dish, and then I'm gonna tell you how you can make it at home and what you can serve with it, all right? So first things first, we are gonna make a really gorgeous summer corn pudding. And we're gonna start off with just some fresh shallot. I got a fresh shallot, we're gonna cut that right in half, and then we're gonna flop it on its belly, just so it doesn't roll around, right? And then we're going to cut what they call planks out of that. And then switch around, we're gonna cut the planks into sticks, and then we're gonna mince this around and just kind of break down both pieces like this. And then we're gonna saute this in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil with some fresh thyme, and we're gonna shuck off just some really good fresh corn. This is Brentwood corn from California. We brought everything out with us. And to me, there's just the relationship with the farmers and the flavor. When you can call a guy and say, do me a favor, that last case that you sent me, it just wasn't quite ready yet. If you could leave it on the vine or leave it on the plant for like another week or so, I would love it. And they're happy to do it. And that's the super cool stuff then. Okay, so we got a saute pan here. We're going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to our saute pan. Boom. All right, we're going to saute some shallots with some fresh thyme and kind of give these guys a little head start. Will you guys say hi to Matt Massera, my corporate chef? Matt was our pastry chef at Wayfair Tavern, my restaurant in San Francisco. Have you guys been there? You know, apparently we haven't fed everybody yet, so I'm really excited about it. But Matt started out as our pastry chef back in 2010, and then he was promoted to chef de cuisine, and then he moved back to his hometown in Sacramento, California, and opened up a restaurant that got 4 stars in the Sacramento Bee. He's not playing around. And then we brought him back into the company full-time this past January, and it's been awesome. Yeah, it's been great, man. So Matt had all of this uni flown in, and he was telling me at lunch today that as of like 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the uni had not shown up yet, and it was like uni gate here in Aspen, Colorado. Like nobody knew where the uni was. Okay, so did you guys just see that little trick I did with the corn? Did you guys see that? So taking a bowl and putting a small bowl inside of a bigger bowl, and then putting the corn on top of that, it gives you a place to cut the corn, and it falls into the bowl without falling all over the counter, right? That's a pretty good idea if you guys are making like fresh corn sauces for the summer, right? Okay, so you got some shallots. We're going to add just 2 ears of corn to this, and we're going to let this saute for a second, and then we're going to add some heavy cream to this. All right, we're going to puree this down, and then this is going to be the base for our summer corn pudding. All right, now let me road map this for you, right? All right, we're going to open up a sea urchin. I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, I know good and well that you're not going to go to the grocery store and get a bunch of sea urchin and crack them open for dinner next weekend. But I think in like cool events like this, kind of seeing things that are like next level, to me, that's what's always really exciting about it, right? And you can match this up with like this summer corn pudding. It would be fantastic with just like a really good piece of fish. If you like seared a beautiful piece of halibut or grouper this summer, like this is a really, really great recipe. And I'll show you guys what we're going to do. We're actually going to open this up. We're going to take the uni out, and then we're going to make this corn pudding custard, put it back into the uni shell, and then steam it as if we're making a creme brulee. Right? Sounds good to me. And then when it comes out, we're going to top it off with a fresh uni, and then I have about 8 ounces of California's finest caviar that we're going to put on top of that as well. So we're just showing off a little bit. Okay, so this is the uni. This is like the star of the show. So to me, it's just one of those like prized possessions in California, and it's just one of those things that I just think it's like such a. First of all, who's the first guy that saw this thing in the water and said, you know what, I'm just hungry enough. I'm going to give it a shot, see how it goes. These people have been paving the way for us for a long time. Okay, so now this is a little tough. It's almost like surgery, right? So what you want to do is you want to take a pair of kitchen shears, and you want to kind of go into the shell, and you want to crack this thing open, and then start to kind of weave out towards the edge. At some point in time, we're actually going to get into, the sea urchin lobes themselves, right? So we want to be really, really careful with that, right? All right, and we're going to pull off some of the bits and pieces of this, and then I'm actually going to go in a little bit further and crack these open. And then what you have is this like really, really beautiful shell. And the sea urchin themselves, right, are these really, really beautiful lobes that are in the back part of this guy, up against the shelf, up against the side of this thing. And there are about 5 of them for every single sea urchin, right? And when you get these out, you want to give them a little wash, right? But this, once you kind of rinse these guys off, you have water? A little bowl of water, right? So once you pop these guys out, and you give them a little rinse, right? And this is salted water, right? This is fresh sea urchin, and this is fresh uni, and this is exactly where it comes from. Is that cool or what? Is that awesome? All right, cool, fantastic. So we got a couple of these guys already opened. Perfect. Just give you that thing. And I think these shells are just so beautiful. They almost look kind of prehistoric. Like, look at the inside of that thing. Isn't that just fabulous, man? Isn't that wild? So this is going to be the base for our summer corn pudding that we're going to bake inside of this. All right? Thanks for doing that, man. Okay, cool. So now we've got our corn. We've got our sea urchin. And Matt cleaned one out for me here, right? And there's 5 really just beautiful lobes here. And they have this gorgeous, like almost like peach salmon color to them. All right, and we're going to use these also as a flavor profile inside the corn custard. So it's uni on uni on uni. All right, so we're going to take 6 egg yolks. We're going to drop them to the bottom of our KitchenAid blender. We love the folks at KitchenAid. How long has KitchenAid been sponsoring this at Aspen? Forever, right? They do such a great job. They set up all these demo kitchens. They're amazing. Okay, so we've got our base here, right? Now what I'm going to do is temper some of this hot liquid in. First, I'm going to fish out the fresh thyme. And this right here, if you cut some potatoes up and poach some potatoes in this liquid, and then threw in, like, say, some fresh halibut cut in pieces or fresh cod, this would be the most spectacular bowl of just summer corn chowder that you've ever tasted. And it's just cream and shallots and fresh corn. All right, we're going to add a little bit to this. And then I'm going to buzz this down. And then I'm going to add the rest. And I'm tempering the yolks, all right, because I don't want to fry them because this liquid's so hot. All right. Good. All right, cool. So just give it a little buzz, temper the yolks, kind of warm those up a little bit, and now we're going to add the rest of the stuff. Now, this particular recipe, before I put the sea urchin in it, is delicious if you take a roast, like a baking dish, like a Pyrex baking dish, or a really, really nice baking dish, right? And replace the idea of the sea urchin shell with just a really beautiful small roasting pan and bake this off and serve this as a fantastic side dish. Grilled pork chops for the summer, beautiful beef tenderloin, shrimp, fish, anything. This is a really, really great recipe. And this is kind of a hybrid. It's a little fancy now. But I grew up in South Carolina. And this is kind of fantastic summer cooking we used to do all the time. All right. All right, cool. Give that a little puree. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, just kind of balance everything out. Bang. Thank you, brother. And then we're going to add the uni, the fresh uni, into our corn custard. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Right? Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? All right, the uni's going to go in. And then we're going to buzz this up one more time. Now, like I said before, you could put this into a baking dish and bake this off, and it's amazing. All right, you guys ready to see this? Stickers. It's brand new. All right, here we go. So this is the puree. Isn't that beautiful? You could also freeze this as an ice cream. And I was almost going to do it. So we're going to push this to a sieve, just because these I think the luxurious flavors are butter smooth, right? Zero texture. The difference between like Robuchon potatoes and like chunky home style. So you want to just sort of pass this through a chamois or sieve, just to make sure you kind of get all the texture out. And again, this is very, very simple. It's shallot, fresh thyme, corn, cream. And then a little bit of Mendocino sea urchin just for fun, you know what I mean? Because it's cool like that. Have you guys seen Worst Cooks in America? Have you guys seen this show? Ann and I are doing it again, by the way. Thank you very much. One person loving it. You know, it was a show that I'd started, because this is my 22nd year on television with Food Network. Isn't that wild? Thank you very much. And, you know, this is technically my 11th or 12th show. I kind of lose count a little bit. But it's the #1 show on the network. Isn't that wild? So it's kind of what, so we just wrapped up the celebrity version. And LaToya Jackson, my girl, won. So that was kind of fun. Ann asked her if she moonwalks. I was like, LaToya, you don't have to answer that. Okay, so check this out, guys. So we took a piece of foil, crumpled it up, stretched it back out again, right? Now that's going to be the base because the bottoms of these are a little irregular, right? So then we're going to take our corn and sea urchin pudding, and we're just going to drop these back into the bottom of the shell. What do you think about that? Crazy, right? Then we're going to take some hot water. It's a kettle with hot water. And we're going to very, very, very carefully pour it on the side. And we're going to bake this as if we're making creme brulee, all right? So it's 300 degrees for 30 minutes. And again, if you want to take the same corn pudding, put it into a baking dish, right? It would probably be a little bit longer. But the 300-degree temperature is really important so it doesn't souffle, all right? All right, so we're going to say goodbye to these guys. And you want to put them into the oven. And then have you guys made creme brulee before? Right? So there's like a pudding texture that you're always kind of looking for when you're making creme brulee. And that's a warble, right? So you want to put it in the oven, bake it at 300 degrees, which is pretty low. All right, and you want to do that so the eggs won't souffle and it gets really puffy, like an omelet. You want it to be silky smooth like a creme brulee. And then at 30 minutes, somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes, you want to check it and just touch it. It should have just a lazy bounce, like a warble, right? All right, in the oven it goes. Bang, like that. And then when they're done, you want to let them cool off, right? Put them in the fridge. So they're this like luxurious summertime, somewhere between like sushi and like a raw bar experience, right? Where it's just luscious and creamy and soft and sweet. So this is what they look like when they chill, right? When they've been chilling. And then we're going to kind of start to garnish these things up. First of all, I want to get a spoon before I put a bunch of stuff on it. I want to see what they look like and the texture. Can you guys see that? That was ridiculous. Nicer, brother. Matt and I played around with this for about a week. That is so good. All right, let's make it even better. Okay, cool. So we got a bunch of guys in California doing a bunch of fun stuff. This is from Passmore Ranch, Michael Passmore. Now look at the color of this caviar. This is ridiculous. He raises sturgeon, look at that, in the Sacramento Delta. You got a shot of that? It's the best caviar, best domestic caviar I've ever tasted. This stuff is ridiculous. Do you guys like caviar? This is next level. This is so good. Okay, so we're going to take our uni guy, and we're just going to do a beautiful little quenelle, right? The caviar right on top. Don't act like you wouldn't eat that. You know you would. And then 2 lobes of our beautiful Mendocino sea urchin on top. And when we were kind of planning this demo and kind of what we wanted to do, and I just think Aspen is a place where you really let it go, you know? Like, you guys know me. Like when we cook on television on Food Network, it's about getting dinner on the table, right? But when we come to Aspen, it's about feasting, right? Right? Isn't that pretty? I may have a fresh sherbal. Boom. Yeah, get going there. Are you guys having a good time? Did you guys like the video? Video was cool, right? That was a little extra. Yeah, our new production company, I'm so proud of what we're working on right now. We're becoming filmmakers. I mean, I've been on television for 22 years. I've written 16 cookbooks. I've been here 10 years. I'm ready to do something new. So we're going to start telling stories that I think the world hasn't seen before in a deep and thought-provoking and beautiful way that I'm very, very, very excited about. And this is our first cool little movie demo thing that we've done. And I wanted to share with you guys one of California's prized possessions, one that doesn't necessarily get a lot of play. It should get a lot more. But I think this is so hot that Marcus Samuelson is cooking with Uni too right now. Uni's so hot this year. Hashtag Uni's so hot. But we want to kind of come and just show off with you for a little bit, tell you that we love you, and thank you so much for coming out to our demo in Aspen.